Children, today we will discuss about the types of transpiration. Now, coming to types of transpiration, as we have discussed that transpiration occurs from the aerial parts of a plant. Now, it can be generally of three types. First one, we call it as the stomatal transpiration, which occurs through stomata. These stomatas are minute pores, as you know, found in the epidermis of the leaves and herbaceous stems also. However, we get them more on leaves. Actually, the stomatal apparatus, it consists of a single pore, which we call it as the stoma, surrounded by specialized bean-shaped epidermal cells known as guard cells. These cells, they contain chloroplast and they are capable of photosynthesis. Now, their wall is thick on the inner side, that is towards the stoma, whereas it is thin on the outer side. So, the movement of the guard cells, they regulates the opening and closing of the stoma. So, transpiration occurs more rapidly when the stomata are open. In many plants, the water loss through this type of transpiration is 80 to 90% of the total water loss. Coming to the next type of transpiration, which we call it as the cuticular transpiration. Now, all the aerial parts of the plants are covered with a waxy layer of substance called cuticle, which is almost impervious to water. But still, a very small amount of water can escape through these cuticles also. So, when the loss of water as vapors occurs through this cuticle, it is called as cuticular transpiration. Now, amount of water loss through this type of transpiration, it depends upon the thickness of the cuticle. Obviously, if it is thick, the water loss is less, but the transpiration becomes more with the thin cuticle. Now, cuticular transpiration may vary from 3 to 9% among different plants. Next come the lenticular transpiration, which occurs through special openings called lenticels. The lenticels, they are permanent opening found on the bark of the old stems. So, woody stems of the deciduous plants, they lose small amounts of water vapors through these lenticular transpiration before the leaf fall. Now, next we will discuss about the mechanism of stomatal transpiration. As you all know that the water absorbed by root hairs enters the xylem vessels of the root and rises up to reach the xylem vessels of the stem. Now finally, it enters the vessels of the fine veins of leaves through the midrib. Now these vessels, they are surrounded by the mesophyll cells, which have large intercellular air spaces among them. These spaces are filled with air. If you can see the diagram. Now, as the tracheids and vessels, they are always saturated with water, they transfer the water to the mesophyll cells. As a consequence, what happens? The mesophyll cells are always saturated with water also. Now, from the exposed surfaces of their cell walls, water evaporates and the water vapors accumulate in the intercellular spaces. Now, since these intercellular spaces are interconnected, these vapors, they diffuse through them and reach the substomatal air spaces. Generally, what happens in the terrestrial habitats, the atmosphere is less humid than the air in the air spaces. Exceptions is in the rainy seasons. Consequently, what happens? Vapors from the air spaces, they diffuses out into the atmosphere along a concentration gradient. Now, obviously, this opening and closing of stomata, it will also control the rate of transpiration. Now, the opening and closing of the stomata, it depends upon the turgidity and flaccidity of the guard cells. Now, as you all know, its stoma is surrounded by the kidney-shaped guard cells, which in turn again are surrounded by accessory cells or subsidiary cells. So, the entire stomatal aperture, guard cells and the subsidiary cells, they together constitute the stomatal apparatus. Now, during daytime, what happens? The guard cells, they carry out photosynthesis and produce glucose. So, the osmotic pressure of guard cells increases, making them hypertonic. So, thereby they absorb water from the surrounding cells by the process of endosmosis and become turgid. Now, when the turgor pressure of the guard cells increases, their outer wall is pushed out towards the periphery. As a result, a tension is created on the inner wall of these cells. Consequently, what happens? The inner wall of the guard cells, they moves towards the periphery. So, this causes opening of the stomata. On the opposite, when the guard cells lose turgidity and come under a flaccid state, their outer wall returns to its original position, relieving the tension on the inner wall. So, this causes movement of the inner walls of the two guard cells towards the stomatal opening, which is then closed. So, opening and closing of stomata obviously controls the rate of transpiration. Next, we will discuss about the factors affecting transpiration. Coming to the external factors, the first one is the intensity of light. During the daytime, the stomata open due to synthesis of glucose in the guard cells. So, more transpiration occurs during the daytime. So, on a cloudy day, stomata get partially closed, thus reduce transpiration. Next is the temperature. Increase in temperature increases transpiration obviously up to a particular limit, as warm air can hold more water than cold air. Next is velocity of wind. Fast blowing wind removes the water vapor from the surface of the leaves, thus increases transpiration. Next is humidity. Obviously, if the atmosphere is more humid, transpiration rate will be reduced as the outward diffusion of water reduces. Next is the water content of soil. So, if lesser is the water content of the leaves, obviously lesser is the rate of transpiration. At the state of lesser water content, the leaves, they wilt and the stomata get closed, so transpiration also reduces. Next is carbon dioxide concentration. If the atmospheric carbon dioxide increases above its normal, then stomata get closed and the rate of transpiration reduces. Next and last external factor is atmospheric pressure. When atmospheric pressure increases, transpiration rate decreases. So it is inversely proportional. Coming to the internal factors, number one is arrangement of leaves. Now, if the leaves, they are directly exposed to sunlight, they will lose more water. Next is thickness of cuticle. Thick layer of cuticle tends to reduce the rate of transpiration. And Next is number and distribution of stomata. Obviously, a leaf bearing more number of stomata will transpire more than a leaf with lesser number of stomata. Consequently, the upper surface of a dicot leaf transpires slowly than its lower surface where the stomata are more numerous. Next is anatomical features of the leaf. Now, if the leaf is modified into spines or tendril, the stomata are sunken. As for example, we get it in Nerium, or the epidermis is covered with hair, the rate of transpiration is significantly reduced. Next, we will discuss about the importance of the process of transpiration. Now, as transpiration helps in reducing the increased temperature of the leaf surfaces, it causes cooling effect and also keeps the enzymes intact and active. Next, transpiration also creates a suction force or transpirational pool which plays an important role in ascent of sap. Next, it also helps in distribution of water and mineral throughout the plant as the leaves are situated at the top and tend to pull the water towards them, thus distributing it throughout. And transpiration also plays an important role in water cycle also. Now, as we are talking about the importance of transpiration, there are also some disadvantages of transpiration. Excess transpiration causes loss of water from the plant, which may cause wilting. Means if the rate of absorption is less and rate of transpiration is more, then the plant will wilt. And plants have to waste a huge amount of energy to develop the methods to reduce transpiration. So generally these two are the disadvantages of transpiration. Now, as the process of transpiration, it is loss of water in the form of vapor. There are other methods of losing water of plants also. One process we call it as guttation. It is actually loss of water in the form of water droplets through special openings at the ends of the veins of the leaves, which we called hydatodes. Guttation is actually due to the root pressure. Commonly we get them in the monocots and hubs. Next is bleeding. Now when the plant part or parts they get injured or ruptured, the sap they oozes out through these injuries or ruptured regions. So this process we call it as bleeding. It is due to the root pressure. So this is the entire topic of transpiration. Go through the differences between transpiration and guttation and bleeding, and the comparison among the types of transpiration and the diagrammatic or structural based setups to show the process of transpiration. Thank you.